Welcome to partialarc.com. Don't do that.
You find yourself in a tavern.
Yo, we should have checked for traps.
I knew he forgot something.
I think I can reason with him.
You killed his father.
Can I have sex with it?
You could certainly try.
I'm gonna touch a sword.
Don't touch the sword!
The child is evil, right?
Obviously.
I could cast Fireball.
Always cast Fireball.
All right, roll for it. Welcome to Friday Night Quests. I'm Jay Jones, your host and usually your dungeon master. This week, however, we're bringing you part 2 of a special interlude run by Mike Christensen. Now, before we get to the show, however, this is, in fact, our 100th episode! This is an incredible milestone, and we have a lot of people to thank for getting us here. First of all, right away at the top, there are 2 individuals who have dedicated a huge amount of time to this show and are really the heart and spirit of what we do here every week and make it incredibly fun to come and record these things. And those 2 people are Jeremy Fox and Kelly Egan, who right at the front didn't really know what they were getting into and agreed to join us for long sessions at a time in a brand new edition none of us had ever played, and to sit down with many players who had never played D&D before at all. Their generosity with their time and their ability to make our guests feel welcome are some of the reasons this show has gotten as far as it has. And honestly, they're just generally 2 of the best people we know. Thanks again also to the guests that we've had on the show. We've had a bunch, and they've been really gracious and wonderful with their time. John Harlan Kim, Marshall Williams, Jonathan Keltz, Javier Grigio Markswatch, Seychelle Gabriel, Todd G. Levin, Hillary Levi, Matt Kane, Jimmy Wong, Daniel Fernandez, Sandra Frame, Jeffrey Gardner, Taylor Glockner, Allison Fox, and Ika Darville. All of our guests have been absolutely tremendous and just so much fun, and generally some of the nicest people we know. Thank you everyone for being so giving of your time and your energy. This has been a fantastic ride. And of course, I'd be crazy if I didn't give a shout out to my podcast partner in crime, Mike Christensen, who not only plays the hilarious character of Sweeney on our podcast and frequently DMs adventures just like this one, but he also edits every episode. He coordinates for us. He is the driving force behind Friday Night Quests, and we would be a fraction of a show without him. He is really the heart and soul of this podcast, and I owe him a huge debt of thanks and gratitude. Sir, you are amazing. And finally, thanks to you, the listener. Whether this is your first episode or you've been with us from the beginning, we're so grateful for each and every one of you. The time we get to share with you each week is amazing, and honestly, it's one of the most rewarding things I've ever done. And I can probably speak for myself, for Mike, for the producers, that we freaking love this show. And we love communicating with you guys, and we love telling stories, and we hope you've had a wonderful, tremendous journey with us over these last 100 episodes, and we've got plenty more to go. So, with all that out of the way, as always, let's get to the game. Previously on Friday Night Quests, the woman known only as the Second has recruited 2 mercenaries, Dante and Aedoro, on a mission into the chilling plane of existence called the Shadowfell. They're on a super secret mission to infiltrate a floating castle and steal a relic known only as the Ledger. All right, so we're basically flying on our way there. Yeah. As we get probably within 10 minutes out, the Second is going to look to Aedoro and nod her head. She's using her only arm to hold on to Dante, but she's going to use her head to kind of nod to you to come in closer.
Okay.
And basically, as she comes in, or as you, I guess, come in closer, she's going to, whip out her crystal rod and quickly cast invisibility on everyone.
What's the range on invisibility?
The range is, it's touch, so you would have to be close. Basically, you'd have to fly in and, basically grab her arm.
So I fly in and put my hand on her.
And she's already holding on to Dante, who's sitting on the bird, and basically cast invisibility. And then at the level, since I always cast at 5th level, it gets everybody, even the giant vulture.
Yep.
So we have this for up to an hour, and we're about 10 minutes out. So hopefully we should have close to 50 minutes. We disappear from the air.
As you fly, you see the castle that you know to be the home of Basilius Blackheart, the Lich King. You can see the gray stone buildings shrouded in a thin layer of mist obscuring the floor of the castle. Visible in the center of the keep, you can see shadowy figures roaming through the courtyards and across the buildings. Shades and shadows, floating spectral images. You see some shambling soldiers with rotten flesh and skeletons wearing scraps of armor. You see dark figures wearing shawls that cover their flesh except for their long skeletal black arms and legs. You see a couple of pale humanoids lurking in the shadows near tall towers. You see a few men walking around in robes or armor, black armor. You see Quietus Keep. At the front of the castle, overlooking the Shadowfell ahead as the castle floats forward, you see a broken tower. This is where you know Basilius Blackheart spends his days. The next largest buildings are 3 towers which you know belong to the Blood Guard, 3 vampire shield maidens who ride into battle on wyverns made of shadow. You see on one side of the castle a more elevated section. This is where the barracks are, where the stables for the giant vultures are. On the other side, where the floor is lower, a few buildings, including a dome, the library, where you believe your target is. Around the wall are 6 guard towers set into the stone wall. What do you do?
Alright, so we know the ledger is probably more likely in the library, but we can't be entirely sure. Now, I know I spoke about this before we came on this mission, but we do not want to engage with Blackheart. He is a lich more powerful than any of us.
Do you think Basilius's heart is actually black?
I'm not probably he's undead. I'm sure it's very gross and disgusting. Look, we're not here for Basilius. Like I said, we're here to get the ledger. This is incredibly important to my organization, and we need it to get this mission done.
What's in that ledger again?
Without going into detail, it is... Do you really need to know what's in the ledger?
I mean, it'd be nice to know that it's not going to, like,
It's not going to eat you or try to destroy the world, no. It is a ledger that keeps track of souls that have passed beyond this world. Souls that are no longer with us. And that's all. It just keeps a tally of them and where they reside.
All right, shady, but sure.
Well, I didn't hire you for inquiry. I hired you because you're the best at what you do.
All right, well, I'm going to go check out the guard tower closest to the library.
All right, so we fly up that way, I guess, towards the... that's the one... It's near the library. It's also near Lady Carlissa's tower, number 8. I'm assuming Lady Carlissa's, from the information I gathered, that she is one of these vampires.
Yes, she is one of the Blood Guard.
Okay. We didn't really discuss this before. Now that I'm looking at the map again, we are essentially landing right near one of the vampires' homes.
Yes.
And you still feel like this is the best course of action?
Well, there's a wall separating the 2 areas.
Yes, but the tower is above. She'll be able to, if she looks out her window, potentially see us.
Well, I mean, I don't think there's any way that we can get into this without them seeing us.
Very likely. Well, look.
Unless we maintain invisibility. But we need to at least scout the area.
Okay, so let's get close and see what's going on with this tower.
So I fly up. What does the tower look like in the front of the tower, like as far as windows and stuff like that?
You're talking about the Vampire's Tower or the Guard Tower?
The guard tower.
It is an open guard tower, so there's no roof to it. It is just basically a wall around this platform.
All right,
and a
so-
doorway going down.
So I fly above the roof, and I look in, and what do I see?
You see...
Well, there's no roof. It's just you fly...
Above where the roof would be.
Above the tower, yeah.
Above the,
I knew
the
what you
guard tower.
Ceiling window.
The ceiling
Yeah,
window.
there we go.
You see 7 figures in this tower. 3 of them skeletons. 4 of them are soldiers with rotting flesh.
Do I see anything that looks like an alarm? A bell, a horn, anything like
Make
that?
a perception check.
Where are we right now? We're just kind of floating.
We're probably keeping our distance, yeah.
Oh,
I can see invisible creatures. So
I was wondering about that.
So I
could too, but I think it's gone now.
Yeah, that's
that's a
probably
20.
passed.
20 total?
Yeah.
One of them has a bell near them. You know they don't have a horn because these creatures don't have the air to
Breath.
blow it. But there is a bell that they can
Could
sound.
still have a diaphragm for the horn.
They could, but they don't.
All right.
I'm gonna message Aedoro. Say, Aedoro, what do you see over there?
Can I talk back?
25 words at most, but yes, you can send a psychic message back.
There's a bell that they're manning. If we take them out, we have to hit that first. Four zombies, 3 skeletons.
What did he say?
There's an alarm bell that they're guarding. There's 4 zombies, 3 skeletons we have to take out quickly.
So we have to take them all out at once, or we have to remove that bell, quite literally, first. What if we get in front of the bell? We can land quietly behind it and basically create a defense around it and attack forward.
We can say for the sake of...
I relay that message.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so are they standing adjacent to the bell, or is there a fair amount of space? Like, are they shuffling around, or are they just like undead, just freaking standing
They're
there?
kind of just undead standing around and watching in all directions. One of them is probably about 5 feet from the bell.
About
That's the
5 feet.
the
So I
closest
could
to
put
it.
myself between it.
You could.
Can I do some kind of check to see what kind of awareness these things have?
Call it an insight check.
An insight? 13.
13. I am actually going to just check and see what their perception bonuses are like.
Yeah, I just want to know if they'd like, if I cut a couple of them down, how quickly would they react?
I'd say wait for us to also.
I know, I'm just saying to be in position so that I can like surprise, then they turn for me, then you guys can surprise.
They are in very close quarters, so they would probably notice pretty quickly if you attacked someone in that area.
Okay, so I relay to them again. There is a space for me to fit between the bell. I can essentially guard it, and if we can take them out.
I have a plan. What we can do is either this. I'm worried about 2 things. 1, worried about them being able to get to the bell before we can take them all out, and 2, someone else seeing us attacking this tower. Now, I can create an illusion. We have 2 options. I can create an illusion that will be a duplicate of what's the tower looks like right now, so if someone was looking from a different direction, it would seem as if nothing was happening from the tower, essentially creating a veil over what we're doing. It would give us up to a minute to take them out, and then the veil would drop. We'd have to clear the bodies and get them out all under 60 seconds. Not easy. The other option is if we go in, hopefully nobody notices us, I can create an illusion over the bell as if the bell has disintegrated. Now, I assume these creatures are not very intelligent. To see through my illusion, it would be difficult, and if they did, it would still catch them off guard, maybe give us enough time to essentially take them out before they realized it is just an illusion and the bell is still there.
So, it's interesting. What did I see with regards to windows facing into the compound? Because obviously this is a guard tower. There's not going to be many windows because that leaves vulnerability.
It's open. They seem to be banking on their height as their advantage.
So it's just like they're just standing on top of nothing,
Yeah.
essentially? Interesting.
So it's about 7 feet up from where the wall is itself. So it gives them some vantage point over the wall and to shoot down. The wall itself, which goes around the entire castle, has murder holes, has things like that people can arch down from.
Okay.
This seems to be an area where they might even, like, in another day, long gone, there might have been ballistas here.
But these guard towers are not taller than the vampire towers.
Because I think the question he's asking is, if we land on this tower and start taking down skeletons and monsters and things like that, is there any other tower higher than this one that from a window someone can look out and see us taking these dudes down? Because
Yeah.
that invisibility is going to go away immediately.
Especially
The
if I
vampire
shoot a
towers
big
are
fireball.
taller than the guard towers are.
So the vampires would have to be looking out the window, and because if we did this in under a minute, like that's like you have to like notice and go over and observe us in a minute.
I guess, DM, how many towers can see us from this perspective that are higher than the guard tower? How many points of view?
The guard towers are all at equal height. So if you're in view of the other guard towers, if they're looking in that direction, they can see you. There are 4 other towers that are higher than the castle walls. The 3 vampire blood guard towers and the broken tower itself. The broken tower doesn't really have any windows at the top, but there are only a couple of murder holes going down the sides.
So discounting the tower we're attacking, we have 10 other things that can see us.
Question. The bell itself.
Yeah.
How is it mounted?
A small fixture, sort of like how a gong is mounted. It's sort of suspended in a little area.
Would the invisibility maintain if I took one of my knives, grabbed the bell at the ringer part, and cut it, and just flew away with it?
Yeah, that's not an attack. You would actually be able to do that.
I could just steal the bell.
Or steal the whatever it's called. I don't remember what
The ringer.
Yeah, the ringer,
So it
essentially.
makes no sound.
Right. The thing is, then the guard towers are going to see a bell slowly float away.
No,
into the air.
not the bell. The pendulum itself. I can just reach under the bell and take the pendulum out quietly and fly away. That means that the bell is still there, and if they try to ring it, it makes no noise.
So essentially sabotaging the bell before it does something.
Sabotaging the bell, I don't think we can take them out without somebody seeing. So I think if I just sabotage the bell, then we can move down to the library and start making our way in.
So then if we're trying to make our escape later, they see us, they try to ring the bell, they're not going to let anybody know.
Exactly.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, so I'm going to fly up to the bell because I'm just like floating up to it, and I just take one of my knives and just cut the pendulum away.
Make a stealth check with advantage.
Just saying, second. I could just fireball that entire group.
I don't think that's the best course of
Yeah,
action.
I'd probably see the fire.
They probably would see a giant fireball.
16.
16. All right. I would also like you to make call it a sleight of hand check, again with advantage.
For sure, that's a sleight of hand.
Yeah, to actually do the removing without actually triggering the bell.
Another 16.
Alrighty. You float down silently past these zombies and skeletons.
I maintain my altitude even though the smell is terrible.
It does not smell good, no. You sort of float onto your back, almost like you're working on a car. Like you float underneath the bell and reach up with your hands and very gently work in with your knife. It's a metal fixture, but it's held by like basically a key ring that you're able to pry open because it had to be bent into that shape. You bend it open so you can just very gently pull it.
Oh yeah, because I also have tools because I have an explorer's pack. So
yeah, I mean you can use a dagger or something like that.
yeah,
easily.
essentially just something that I can clip the little piece away and then just pull
you basically
it down.
pry it open like a carabiner and move it through the loop that it's on. Remove it. As you hold it to you, it becomes sort of translucent. It doesn't go completely invisible. I think the phrasing is a little strange in the spell where if it wasn't on you at the time, I don't think it turns invisible.
But the way that I essentially fly away with it
Yeah.
is I stick very close to the tower, so even if somebody sees it, it looks like piece of the tower, and then I go against the wall, go down the wall, and then fly straight outwards and then back up to where they are. So essentially they wouldn't have seen a thing just float away in the sky.
And to rationalize how we're doing this, since I can see invisible things, but Aedoro can't, and also Dante can't, we're using message through Dante.
Warmer?
Where I'm
Warmer?
I'm like, Dante? Like, basically, I'm speaking to Dante saying, giving basically movements to Aedoro of being like up, down, right, up, and basically
avoid
Dante is saying the same thing, messaging straight to Aedoro. So Aedoro's just like flying blind. Like, I think there's a big...
To avoid the patrols, basically.
Well, no, to come back to us.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Avoid the patrols at the castle because you guys can see all the people that would be looking my way.
Well, no, it's
No,
not.
no.
It's no.
You
It's
can't
not.
see
that-
us.
No. You can't see us.
Oh,
So
right,
when
right,
you
right.
can't because we're all invisible.
I forgot, right?
Yeah. So if you were flying back to us, like you don't fucking know where we are.
I didn't even think about that. I'm basically just floating in midair right now because I can't
Yeah.
even see.
yeah, you're looking down. You
Well,
just see nothing.
as soon as I pass the castle wall on the edge of this rock, I mean, I just drop it. I just throw it off.
You drop the... Yeah, of course.
I just throw it away. Yeah, I mean, like, there's no point to hold on to it.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, that only took like a couple minutes. Should I just take out the bells on all the other towers?
This only lasts an hour.
Well, there's one other tower that's close to us and has vantage on us. Should I do it for that one as well?
I think if you can, the invisibility has only been going about, what would you say, like 30 minutes?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Because we were 10 minutes out, so 10 minutes to get there, and then 20 minutes surveying,
And with the back and forth conversation. I
and
would
then
say
him
you
going
probably have
into
about 30 minutes is fair.
30 minutes remaining. I think that's enough time for him to get to another tower and do the same thing.
Yeah.
The risk being that you might get caught the second tower. We got away with this one, but will we get away with the other?
So you're talking about the tower that is... I really wish I'd actually numbered the individual towers, but...
North
hindsight being
Tower.
2020.
North
No,
Tower.
Yeah, if we're looking at it from the way we're looking at the North Tower.
We
'Cause
took,
basically
out, we
did the-
took out the northeast tower.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
But the north tower is...
the one above the barracks on the north side.
Yes, it's above the barracks and it has line of sight to us. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking that would be the only other one we take out.
I think that's fine.
Because the southeast tower is actually blocked to where we want to land by the vampiress's tower. So
I think that's fine. One more attempt.
All right.
Just,
So I think you guys should be in position at the library. I will be here.
Well, let's wait to land until we have everyone together, because if something goes wrong, we don't want to have to quickly take off from the library and cause some kind of ruckus.
All right, I go up to the next tower.
Double
Do it.
stealth with advantage, rather.
Much higher than before.
Okay.
Double 16.
Let's see who's here. Okay. In this area,
The Lich likes to visit his towers and tell his men good job on the hard work that you do.
And they just grunt.
there are 2 zombies and 4 skeletons in this chamber. There's also another individual with white flesh and black studded leather armor. His flesh resembles the flesh of the ghouls, but his appearance does not. He has sort of long, stringy white hair, and he's very heavily armed. He has a long sword and a long bow. He also has like medals on his chest.
So again, we're doing kind of the game of telephone. I'm asking Dante, what is he seeing? And then
There's also a captain of the guard there. Seems like a captain of the guard.
Aedoro, I'd like you to make an Arcana check. See if you can identify this creature.
No one noticed him, right?
I succeeded on my stealth.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had a 22 to stealth.
Yeah.
It's Arcana, you said?
Yeah.
12.
12. It is definitely undead. You're not sure of its exact nature.
Okay. How close is he to the bell?
He's not that close to the bell.
Okay.
He's more watching. He would actually be looking into the courtyard a little bit. He sort of definitely moves with more individuality. He's not this sort of automaton like the others. So he's actually resting an arm on the wall and looking down into like the barracks area where there seem to be some skeletons running drills.
Okay.
And by that I mean military routines, not just putting together cabinets.
All right. That's what I assumed.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to...
we all thought they were building IKEA furniture down there, so
Hey man, it's the Shadowfell. Who knows?
Is that where it comes from?
that's where that's where the Fujfagen comes from.
All right, so I'm going to sleight of hand this again to try and
Okay.
get this bell piece off.
Built by skeletons for skeletons.
And that's a 17.
17. Again, it takes you a while. At this point, you probably have about 15 minutes left on your invisibility once you leave this area. But you are able to remove it. You float up and away, and you do the same.
Just drop it off.
Drop it off. Alrighty.
All right, and then I fly back to the
All right,
library.
10 more feet. No, up a little bit. Down. To the left. Ow. That's, I'm right
just
here.
bumping into the bird.
So I'm assuming, are you guys...
Shit.
Did you guys move in yet, or...
I've had it so that we're keeping a pretty wide berth from the castle. Like we're probably about 200 feet out.
This
So
bird
that-
is starting to tire.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
been flapping
It's
for
been
about
flapping.
50 minutes.
Yeah.
All right, so I telepathically tell him, like, I'm in position above the library.
Oh, I thought you were coming back to meet up with us.
Well, why would it come back to meet up and then us fly back again?
Well, because it was just so we could easier communicate, not through message
okay.
and 25
I
words.
mean, I guess we're confused of where. I imagine we were like near the library, just kind of floating.
Yeah,
around.
I figure you're only like 50, 60 feet away
Yeah, I don't think we were
from the wall.
Okay, sure. I mean, the idea is just
invisible.
that he's invisible and he's a person and controls all of the things that he thinks and wants to do. We're on a big old giant vulture, so I don't want a big old dumb giant vulture getting scared by something
True.
and starting to screech.
They're 150 feet away from the wall.
That sounds fair.
That's what I say. Look, he can control what he says. We don't know what this bird's
All
gonna
right,
do.
so I fly back to them,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm like, I'm
You
done.
bump into me.
I immediately hit the bird, and I say, all right, let's go. We're ready to move in.
Okay, so, all right. So we land at the library. We make a stealthy entrance. We locate the ledger, and then we get out of here. Again, I cannot reiterate. Run from a lich if you see a lich. All right?
There are many skeletons in the field next to the library by the barracks, so we have to make sure we get into the library unseen.
From the other side.
I think we
Did you see anything when you were flying by the other side of the library, which is closer to the guard tower?
Did I see anything?
Like anything on the ground down there?
No, I mean, there are shapes moving throughout the entire castle.
But I mean, immediately near the library.
I'll make a perception check. Because it's been like 20, 30 minutes since you first approached. Things have been moving around.
13.
And you can all make perception checks as well.
Natural 20.
Natural 20.
Holy crap. I mean,
I only got 13.
know if I'm going to get better than that, but here we go.
My perception's not that great, so it's good that I rolled that.
Wow. I'm really not even worth the time. Again, one of those was a natural 1.
It's a good thing you have advantage.
In that area, you don't see much. There's this thin mist over the floor, but you have seen some like spectral shapes moving through that.
By the library?
Not directly next to the library, but moving around that area.
Okay.
And they don't seem to be holding to one individual place.
Okay.
You also notice that some of them have things that are floating with them.
Do I see anything like on the roof of the
So, for
library?
example, as you're walking or as you're watching, Dante, you notice that like floating towards one of the vampire's towers, the number 8, Lady Carlos's tower, there are these 4 floating spectral shapes. One of them has what looks like a platter of food in its hand. Another one has some sort of wooden box. It seems like these spectral forms are taking things to and from different locations.
Okay.
Okay.
I also, while we've been floating here over this time and he's been surveying, I use one of my actions. I'm going to touch the crystal rod holding up the second's hair, and she's going to use the ability of her rod to regain another spell slot. Because she used one up for invisibility. So now she's back up to 3. She was down to 2, now she's back to 3.
So I guess we move down. We land.
Are we landing on the roof? I imagine we're going to land on the roof of the library, right?
Of the library?
The library is a domed building. So, I mean, not to say yes or no.
With
Just
that perception, like, do I notice any entrance to the library from the roof or anything?
the entrance is facing number 13, the atrium. So it's on the southwest side of the library.
So do we go through the front door, or do you think we can go through the roof?
I mean, does it look like there are any openings other than the front door? Like, are we talking about
Yeah,
glass
that's what I was
dome,
asking. Do I see,
stone
like-
dome?
It is a stone dome.
So there's no way in the roof.
No, we
unless
have to go in the
blast.
front door.
Well, we're still invisible, so we have an advantage. Yeah, let's see if we can sneak in. So I guess we land in front of the front door of the library. As we get closer, as we're getting closer to the mist, do we see anything with the wings flapping?
Yeah, does it kick the mist away?
It is starting to beat the mist. The mist is beginning to roil away. As it does, you see a few spectral shapes are sort of disincorporated by it, but then they seem to reform and move on. You also see some very small shapes moving across the ground, a fair number of them. They look like hands, severed hands with rotting flesh.
Gross.
That are just sort of moving around the ground.
Good.
Do they look like they're moving with purpose? Or do they just, like, are they carrying things? Like, do, like, one of the fingers holding a pencil and the other fingers are dragging it across?
They don't seem to be carrying anything. It's more like when you look down at ants moving around. Some of them are moving in lines. Others seem to be just roaming.
But so some look like they are moving in some type of pattern, but others look like some are bumping into walls. Like,
No, you don't see anything like that.
So it does look like, even though we can't discern the pattern, they are moving in some type of rhythm.
As far as you can tell.
This might be a form of a security system.
I would think so. It looks like some kind of alarm. You normally wouldn't see it with the mist there.
I'm going to use, the second is going to use one of her... Oh, go on.
Should we get this vulture out of here before it turns visible?
Are you guys landing?
I think that's a good plan. We should probably land ourselves and let the vulture fly away instead of landing with it.
So the entrance to the library, is it like steps going up to a door?
Steps leading down.
Steps leading down to the library.
You can see a sort of archway built into the building, but there are steps leading down to it.
Are there hands on the steps?
Hold on.
The mist is obscuring it.
I want to take out my little gem of seeing. I'm unclear entirely what it does, but
What does the gem of seeing do?
It gives you true sight. And
Yeah.
fun fact, it's actually a monocle. I'm not joking.
Oh,
the
really?
art, it's like an opera glass.
That's pretty rad.
It's like a monocle on a little stick. So
okay. Let's take the monocle. So I hold it up to my eye and I survey the entrance to the library. Like, what do I see? Anything?
I'm imagining true sight is pretty rad because certain things can't see things unless it has true sight.
yeah, true sight's very good. As you're scanning the ground and through the castle and the range that you have, which is about 120 feet, you don't see anything that seems to be any sort of disparity between the true sight and reality. It doesn't really peer through the mist that much, but you do see the shapes of the hands beneath.
Do I see them like crawling all the way down the staircase? That leads
Yes.
to the entrance. So they're on the stairs. I can see them everywhere. All right, those hands are everywhere.
Well,
So you're going to have to be our eyes in this case.
it's not going to be a problem for me because I can just fly above them.
Okay, but I cannot, so you're going to have to guide me.
I also cannot fly.
Well, that's why we're going to have to carefully step over these weird, strange hands.
Yeah.
Also, the second is going to look down at well and try to get just a little bit more information, even just about the library entrance. She's going to use her eyes. One of her invocations is Eldritch Sight. She's going to use Detect Magic, essentially, in the area. Does she get any specific magic outside of what I can only imagine is necromancy on the hands?
A lot of necromancy on the hands.
A lot of necromancy going on, but anything specifically that looked like could be a trap or anything on the library door?
Yes. As you're looking around, the mist itself, there is some enchantment magic in the mist. Not at all places, but it seems to be an element sort of like shimmering across the mist.
Can I roll for an Arcana check to try to discern what it does with advantage since I have detected its type?
Unfortunately, you just don't have enough information.
Okay, so I cannot discern what it is.
Right. Because you haven't seen it in action.
Okay.
Additionally, looking down at the library doorway, you don't see any enchantment there other than the... you don't see any magic there, I should say, other than the enchantment in the mist and the necromancy of the hands.
I could
And the
try
mist
to
is everywhere.
dispel the magic itself.
The mist
but-
is like a thin level. It seems like it would be up to like ankle height. And it's across the entire... It's like there's a smoke machine, just sort of... A fog machine on a stage, essentially.
And it goes all the way down the staircase, too.
It does go down the stairs, yeah.
So if we touch that magical fog...
We could be in trouble, yes.
Yeah, it's like an alarm. God,
Now,
this place
as you have that
sucks.
sight, you do see that this sort of effect ripples, and
That there are certain points in the mist that are less dangerous than others?
there are certain points that there is no... I mean, the mist is still magical, but there are elements of this enchantment that's where it sort of pulses and where it fades and where it withdraws. You could use your sight to try to navigate around it.
I want to take a moment here and appreciate that what we essentially have here is the fantasy version of a laser grid.
Yep.
Aedoro doesn't have to deal with either of these things, but now Dante and I are going to have to get on the ground invisible, running out of time before that invisibility drops.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to guide us through the hands while I guide us through the different pulses of the mist.
Yeah, just to say, is there any way that we can combine our true sight and your detect magic to like
Fusion?
roll, to somehow figure out
Oh.
a plan to dodge and weave every trap?
We're going to more or less have to be kind of pushing and pulling on each other.
Can my monocle be like an eye patch that I strap onto so I don't have to like hold it?
I mean,
Sure.
Yeah.
cool.
All right, so I just fly into the doorway.
Fuck this.
So you're flying through the doorway or to the doorway?
No, like to the doorway.
Okay.
And I'm waiting for them to come down and land.
Okay.
As you float to that, you see on the door another shield, another coat of arms embossed in the door, and the pair of double doors, divided by two diagonal lines running parallel from the top right to the bottom left. On the left side, you see a brain, and on the right side, you see a clenched fist.
Can I do some kind of check to maybe figure out what the hell that means?
Would that be a history check?
You could try.
So history?
Sure.
20. Because I rolled a 19 and I have +1.
Nice. There is no historical significance to what you're looking at.
Shit.
Nice, congratulations. I give you nothing.
Are you guys coming or what?
So what are you guys doing about the vulture?
So I think we come 10 feet down, and then we just hop off this thing.
Yeah, right before we hop off, I
You tenderly...
I pet it real quick and I go, all right, Vulchi, fly free. And I jump off and it like flutters away.
Like Willy? Like flying away?
It flies away. As it's flapping, though, as you're about to jump down, it does kick some of the mist away, so you can just see the hands beneath, and you have a little bit of a area where you think you can land safely. I would like you guys to make acrobatics checks.
Yeah, I'm good at that.
I'm okay.
Oh my god, are you kidding me? Wow. Natural 20.
That's a 9. The second is not as graceful with her landing.
Second rolls her ankle,
She's a little off balance.
and you take a 6 damage
Okay.
as you hit the ground and
damn
land
it.
on your knee, and it's going to be sore.
I do a cool superhero landing.
I was gonna say she was
Break
trying
your
to
hand.
she was trying to do a superhero landing, and it just didn't work out.
Well, I got a natural 20. so
You
I
managed
do
to
a cool
roll to
landing.
your feet, and you're like standing in place.
With message, I go, second, all right, don't move.
All right. Are they around us?
Yeah.
Okay, well,
There's
you're going to
hands
have
all
to...
over the ground.
Now, I guess we're going to have to basically move simultaneously because I can see the pulses in the mist. All right, so we're going to have to work together here. I guess I'm speaking all this in his mind because we're doing message back and forth.
By the way, I'm just sitting above the door now,
Okay.
basically, not wasting my flight.
Sure.
So, like, I'm just chilling there, just, like, waiting for what they do, because I don't know where they are. I just see, like,
all right, so
movement in the mist a little bit
I say we should,
occasionally.
like, put our arms around each other's shoulders like that, so we're, like, side by side.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have to, like, move in step together.
You mean arm around each other, all right? Don't be insensitive.
What did I say?
Arms.
Right. I can put both my arms around you. Huh?
Listen, let's focus up.
All right.
All right, so lock arm in arm, and essentially you're going to take a step, I'm going to take a step, and we'll have to do it deliberately, because if one of us steps into an area where the other one can, we're going to have to use our arm to pull the other one back, so we're going to have to be in sync on this.
Got it.
So what do I see ahead as far as mist?
You see that there is a pulse probably about 20 feet and a little bit to the right, so you'd have to move left to avoid it.
So start moving left, and you're going to guide as far as the hands.
Yeah, what do I see as far, like, how should we do this?
Yeah,
Let's
I
figure
have
it
been
out.
racking my brain about that for the past 5 minutes.
How about this?
Do we both need to do
How about
rolls?
this?
And
Since
then
it's more or less, since we can both kind of see what we want the other one to avoid,
Yeah.
Just do
should we
a group
roll kind
roll?
of like a dexterity check? Because
I'm going to call it a group stealth check.
okay,
I think that's the best way to do it. It is
Hey,
a
I got
stealth
advantage.
check.
Yay.
I will say that you guys are giving each other advantage.
because we're basically trying to avoid a security system. Yeah.
I think stealth is the only way to go with this.
Okay.
It's what you're doing.
Oh, nice, 17 for the second.
I got, my highest was 16.
Okay. As you guys step, you manage to avoid an area where you believe the enchantment seems to be the strongest in the mist. And it seems to sort of like pulse into certain areas and then disperse, and then pulse into other areas and then disperse. And sometimes it comes in a wave, which you guys manage to avoid because it doesn't ripple across the whole thing at once. Meanwhile, these little hands are moving in sort of difficult to discern patterns, but you are able to avoid them as you're stepping. As you're walking, a couple of things catch your focus. One is that as you're taking steps, every step you take does leave an impression in the fog, in the mist, but if you're able to keep moving, you can abate that a certain amount, but if you stand still, it will become more obvious where you're standing.
Got it. So you have to
That's
move quicker.
essentially how I'm tracking them.
As you're walking...
You see, boom,
So,
boom, boom.
so as we keep moving, like, our old footsteps start to dissipate slowly?
They dissipate almost as soon as you
Okay, but
move your
when we're
foot.
standing there, you can see.
When you're standing, it begins to pile across.
There's holes.
There's holes where you're
essentially, in the
standing.
mist.
Yeah, they become more obvious the longer you're standing somewhere.
Especially since you're right next to each other.
As you are walking, you notice a few figures float by. Not silhouetted figures and not skeletons or zombies. You see 3 skulls, flaming green skulls, float towards you. You aren't entirely sure if they've spotted you or not. What do you guys do?
From the perspective that they're coming, I cast Minor Illusion to create over the perspective of where we are that it just looks like regular mist
Would
floating
that
above. and
stop
hands.
invisibility?
No, it's not an attack. Oh wait.
It is a spell,
Yeah.
and it is a concentration spell the same.
Oh, that's right. It is a constant. Yeah, because I would lose my concentration on invisibility, so I
I
can't
can
do Minor
do that.
Illusion. Oh yeah, you could do
I have
Minor.
minor illusion.
We're messaging still. I can't do Minor Illusion. Can you do
Well,
something?
you guys
similar?
can't be doing... I'm going to say the message, because we've broken this rule before on Friday Night Quest, doesn't break invisibility, because
That would be
It's not
silly.
concentration.
because we've broken it. Well, casting a spell, but it's a cantrip, and we've used it all the time on the show before, so fuck it. Message is exempt for Friday Night Quest reasons. Also, but
In Friday Night Quest universe, message is fucking rad.
but also, Minor Illusion is concentration, and it would definitely...
it would break it.
Definitely
Yeah.
break
Would it break
invisibility.
the invisibility that I have, even though...
It would break it for
second
you,
guess.
but
It would
not
break
for
it
him.
for you.
Okay, so I can't do it at all.
Yeah.
All right, we have to keep moving.
There's literally nothing
We're
I
still
can do
invisible,
that's not
though.
going to...
You are still invisible.
How much time
We're
do we
still
have? Like a
invisible.
couple minutes?
Yeah, we still have probably like 5 minutes at this point.
And
not a
you're,
lot.
You're probably about 40 feet from where the stairs begin. But if you stand still, these flaming skulls are going to cross your path.
So we gotta move. We gotta move
yeah,
fast.
move fast.
So we gotta make another stealth check to move
Yeah.
faster.
Yeah.
Do we have to do a different check to see if we can do it faster?
No, just
I would say mechanically,
we're going to lose
we
advantage.
should probably to lose advantage
Yeah.
because we're going to be rushing.
Yeah.
All right. Don't be terrible. Oh, thank God. I got a 15.
14. Not that great.
You rush and step gingerly. You manage to avoid a patch as it begins to coalesce the enchantment. You manage to move out of the way enough. You manage to just avoid stepping on one of the hands. You get to the stairs. You turn back. Once your feet are sort of planted, you turn back and you look. The skulls keep floating.
Okay.
I just imagine, like, as we get to the stairs, like, right when we're getting close to it, there's a little hand right there, and I'm just like, "Whoa."
Yeah.
As, like,
You hold onto her
as
shoulder.
the seconds, like, foot's
The
about to
moment
slip.
about to step
before-
on it.
Yeah, the moment before her foot hits a hand, you hold her back. You almost like grab her knee and hold her in place as the hand
And we
keeps
just
moving.
stand there silently while the skulls
there is a moment, a hesitation where she looks down at your hand on her knee and looks up at you, but then like
There's no way you can see each other.
you can't see each other. Well, she like questions. Well, she can see him.
You can see him.
She
Actually,
can
that's
see
true.
him.
Can I see invisible things with
You
true
can't.
sight?
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
you
you can.
can
Actually,
actually.
so we can both
So you
see
guys
each
can
other.
see each other.
So she looks up at him and gives him a look, and then she looks down, and just below her foot, she sees a little hand crawl out.
Yeah.
She's like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
It's not what you think.
And both of you see Aedoro floating, sort of above the door,
Sitting above the door.
sitting above the. Are you actually sitting on the?
I was sitting
door
on
frame.
the door
Okay.
frame, so that I wasn't wasting my flight.
So are
Okay, good call.
there any more hands like just skittering around here?
A couple, but they don't seem to be going past the door.
Okay, so we go up to the door, and because I want to not draw any attention to the things floating by, I'm going to stop our invisibility because it's about to run out, and I am going to cast Minor Illusion in that doorway to basically block us, so it looks like when we open the door, it's going to look like it's still remaining
So
closed
I
from
have
the
flown
outside.
down to them by the time this happens.
That's fair.
So I turn, cast Minor Illusion, so again, it's Mission Impossible style, making it look like the door's not opening.
Yep.
By the way, I'm not taking off this monocle eye patch anymore. I don't know why I wasn't wearing the whole time. I didn't realize true sight.
I
is
mean,
so
yeah.
great.
It's
Well-
pretty awesome.
True sight doesn't last very long. Is the other thing with your monocle.
Yeah.
So you've used one charge, but you can leave it on
Yeah.
for sure, and then activate it whenever you
I
want.
mean, it still looks rad.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but you're wearing a monocle.
Yeah.
That's just the best.
An eye patch monocle.
all right, so while I'm holding concentration on the Minor Illusion, the second turns around quickly to the door to examine it and investigate to see if there's a way to unlock it, if it's locked, and if there's anything we could expect that could be dangerous with opening this door.
Make an investigation check.
Okay.
Yeah, so for 10 minutes. So you probably have another
Couple
like
minutes.
4
Nice.
minutes
Yeah.
probably with your sight.
So that was pretty good. 22 investigation.
The door is not trapped. The door is not locked.
Okay. So she lightly clicks and turns it open.
Well, you can't do that because your other hand is being held up. I thought holding the.
Well,
minor
I cast the Minor Illusion. I don't have to hold my hand to do the Minor Illusion. I cast it and I concentrate it. It's going to be going for a minute. We have 60 seconds to get in here before the illusion dissipates.
Yeah.
So
Where'd you put it?
So I guess
I put the Minor Illusion basically directly behind us in like, so if somebody was walking by the stairs looking down, I created it in a 5 foot so that it's just covering the part of the door that we're opening, so that if they
Okay.
look, it looks like the door's still closed and nothing's going on.
So I guess you get on one door and then I get on the other door because it's double doors, right?
Well, we should open just one, so the Minor Illusion covers. I was going to have it cover the
Oh,
one door
just
we
the one
swing
door.
open, yeah.
Okay,
because 5 feet probably isn't going to cover this big of a doorway.
Not for both.
So
Okay.
yeah, that's why I was sliding it like a half picture in front of one. So then click open the door and peer inside. I'm just going to quickly stick my head in and just do perception, I guess. Should have advantage on. Can I roll higher above a 10? No, still have not rolled with advantage above a 10.
On perception?
On perception. I still got a 7, but that's about it. That's it.
Wow.
All right, you poke your head in. You see rows of bookshelves. This room is fairly dark. There is light within. There
Okay.
is candlelight, but again, it's this pale, sort of sickly yellow because every light in the Shadowfell had much less color in it. And you see it goes in for a bit. You don't see how far. It's sort of shadowy and dark in there.
So I turn back and I relay this information to Dante and Aedoro.
You guys are visible at this point.
And I'm like, let's go.
We have like 30 seconds before
Yeah.
the illusion dissipates.
So we get in, and then I guess I'm the last one in,
Okay.
and I like slowly close the door behind us. And
When I poke my head inside, do I see anything with my true sight before it like flickers and fades away?
Go ahead and make perception checks.
Will you guys beat a 7?
no,
Oh no.
Yes, but barely. Where is it? 12.
Okay.
We are good.
So perceptive.
You guys look around. Let me see something real quick.
This is good. Of course, nothing's happening when the DM grabs some dice. You look around, and there's nothing in here, of course.
there's 30 ghouls looking right at you.
Yep.
That's pretty bad, even with a perception 7, I feel like.
You look around, and the room seems empty. It's difficult to tell because these shelves kind of go off in all directions. As you're entering, it is a domed building.
Seems is an interesting
This
qualifier.
room seems empty.
I'm going to use my Eldritch Sight and detect magic.
Okay. What's the range on Detect Magic again?
60 feet, I believe.
I think it's 60 feet, yeah.
That's the dungeon
So
master's
what is
thing.
Eldritch Sight? That's a warlock specific thing.
So warlocks have things called invocations, which are basically some let them cast spells without using a spell slot, some let them cast spells using a spell slot, and then some things just happen at will. This is an at will, where Eldritch Sight at will, not casting the spell,
Gives
just
you-
at will. I just like my eyes, like basically
Detect magic?
Yeah.
detect the
Oh,
magic.
that's
And
cool.
and there's another version of it that essentially it gives you demonic sight, where you can see even in perfect darkness full clarity.
Yeah.
She also has a specialty with, because her organization deals with wizards a lot, she can see, this is something outside of just Eldritch Sight, she can see invisible creatures.
Mhm.
Let's see, detect magic. Presence of magic within 30 feet of you,
30
not
feet,
60.
okay.
If you sense magic in this
How
way...
deep is the room?
A couple hundred feet.
Okay.
It's a huge library, right?
It is a very large. It's like walking into a cathedral in Europe or something. It's a large domed room, and you don't actually see where it ends because there's just not enough light to support that.
Okay. What do I get for my 30 feet of detect magic?
You get some very minor enchantments on a couple of books, only sort of spottily around.
Okay.
So there are a few specific books that ping on your radar, but nothing terribly major.
Okay.
That does last for 10 minutes. I'm assuming you're gonna.
Yeah, I'm
keep
gonna
concentration on
I'm
it?
gonna be detecting magic all up in this piece because I'm assuming I have an understanding from the research that I've done. I know probably the mixtures of magic that makes up the ledger. So I'm going to essentially be using my Eldritch Sight as essentially a radar to ping for this thing.
Yeah, I mean there would definitely be some necrotic energy on the ledger in addition to probably evocation, conjuration, something like that.
Yeah,
an enchantment or two.
It's essentially she knows the cocktail that makes up the ledger.
Yeah.
And she's looking for it with her eyes.
and it's a very specific combo. So.
Yeah. So she turns around to the two of you. At this point, I can't really tell what's in here. My vision only goes so far. We should probably be cautious and stealthy in here.
All right. You said it's a couple hundred feet in.
Mm-hmm.
I will take up the rear.
Okay.
So I guess the second will lead in the front with Dante.
Yeah.
Kind of forming like a kind of a triangle formation where the point will be Aedoro behind us, holding up the rear. So we're going down I guess we shouldn't go down the front aisle probably of the room just because that's kind of just inviting literally everybody to see us. How about we hug the right wall?
Sure.
Swing right?
That sounds fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Flank.
Follow
So
your lead.
flank
I
a
guess
little bit.
roll a stealth check.
Yep.
See if we can be stealthy.
With advantage
For you, yeah.
for me. Ooh,
I got a 12.
23.
Oh boy.
I got an 11.
Not so good for you guys.
Okay.
So just sweeping around the right-hand side.
What's the order again?
They're sort of parallel
We're kind
to
of-
each
Yeah,
other.
we're parallel in the front.
I'm behind.
Like I'm watching. If we can imagine it this way, the second is on the right, hugging the wall, looking at the wall, like surveying the books as we walk by. Dante's more facing out into the rest of the room with Aedoro behind.
Okay. As you guys are walking, and then you hear a voice call up behind you. Hello, love. What are you doing in here? And you turn around and you see a very sort of handsome, dashing human looking at you guys, just sort of standing in the aisle behind you. Seems to have been making eye contact with the second and with Aedoro. Dante, as you sort of move further into the shadows, he doesn't seem to notice anything. He's got sort of shoulder-length blonde hair, and he's wearing sort of a very nice sort of doublet.
Can I do an insight check? Because I want to see if I can recognize that this person is only looking at Aedoro and I.
Yeah.
So, 12 on my insight.
12?
If I'm watching his eyes, is it just going between the two of us?
It seems to be just between the two of you.
Can I do an insight check to see if this guy is in fact human?
Certainly.
Oh, actually, an Arcana check would probably not be bad.
You actually don't need to roll a
check?
second.
Can I do an Arcana check?
Sure.
22.
I got a 15.
15. Okay. 15, it's difficult to kind of get a read on him. 22, he seems human. Like, he has
Does
a
it
human...
give me the heebie-jeebies?
He definitely gives you the heebie-jeebies. Second, you are getting necrotic elements off of him. Doesn't seem like a spell, the way that you were seeing off of the little hands, but there's some necrotic magic with him.
So the second kind of sighs a little bit. Yes, we're just the two of us here are looking at some of your collection. Do these happen to be yours, or...
oh, dearie. No, of course not. These are Basilius's collection.
I assumed as much. Are you a collector yourself?
Oh, in a manner of fashion, aye.
Very nice. Well, we're just perusing your collection. If you give us a few minutes here, I'm sure we can continue our chat. Do you happen to know the collection's organization very well? We're looking for a very specific book.
So, because we were signaling out of game to each other, I'm assuming that Dante was actually doing message to me about, should I daylight this motherfucker, basically.
Oh, yeah, because people can't see this, but you're firmly holding daylight in your hand, aren't you?
I was just reading what it does.
Are you doing a message of any sort?
I mean, I don't actually know what he is yet, so...
That's true. You don't have any evidence that he is...
If you would like to message either of us, we can psychically respond to you. But that is up to you.
I think if I message the second.
Okay. The second, what do you ask her?
Who is this guy?
He is
I'm
not...
like hiding behind a bookcase.
He's not human. I'm not entirely sure, but I'd guess... Looking that he is not decaying in any specific fashion, yet he is
There's
clearly...
no way that's 25 words.
Okay.
At that point, you get the little, oops, oh, shoot, that's the character limit.
No, that's the character limit of my tweet. So I wait a second.
Second. You cut off. Second.
I get my next 25 words. It's just like a text where it cuts off and it keeps going. Sorry about that. Shit. She's already used up 5 words.
It's fine. I get it.
Forward.
He's undead. He might be of the vampire sort.
Aedoro's just been really he's got both his hands on his spear. He's not pointing it at the guy, but he's got it, and his eyes are very keen, and he's his eyes basically dart back and forth between the second and the guy, just waiting for the signal to basically just go at him.
Now, Mike, I have the second's one of her invocations is Eyes of the Runekeeper, and she can read all writing.
Okay.
If I look at any of the books on the wall here, do I see any that are like murder a vampire, 10 easy steps, or something like that? No. But more or less, looking at this guy, I wanted to make an additional Arcana check or a history check just to discern. I know he's undead, a type of undead, but I want to know what kind of undead.
Make an Arcana check.
Okay. Sad. That's only
I will
only
give
a 9.
you advantage because you know people who are undead.
That's true.
You hung out with them.
A lot better. 19.
19. You know that there are certain spells or conditions that undead people will experience where they seem to retain their personality. Tom and the other hobgoblins were certainly undead who were still very much themselves. It is uncommon. And yes, vampirism, which is something that you're thinking about considering that there are vampires in this castle.
But do I get the sense that this is a vampire, or do I get the sense that because it's true, very clearly in Second's history, and especially in Friday Night Quests, she is very aware of the things that affect dead things and how to keep them alive, how to retain them.
Yes.
With this, do I get a sense that he is a vampire, or is he kind of like an empty receptacle?
The only vampires that you knew about were the
3.
The 3. That doesn't mean there aren't others.
Right. Vampires from what I hear, tend to sometimes make more vampires.
Yes. But you just are not sure.
Okay.
Quite honestly.
Okay.
So I'm looking. So my eyes are like.
I really hurt. That landing really twisted my ankle. It's throwing me off. Throwing off my dead game.
Look, I mean, there are only a couple things it really could be, but you also know some of this stuff.
Also,
you know?
my dead dar is really off right now.
Also, is the guy approaching us or is he stationary?
He is slowly making his way, and there is a predatory element to him.
So the second puts out her left hand. Stop.
Mm-hmm.
Am I to assume that we are going to be held by you and your master, or are you merely trying to help us review your collection?
Again, love, it's not my collection. And I'll only hold you if there's something that needs to be held.
Listen, I'm not here for tricks and games. Are you an enemy, or are you here to assist us?
Well, some of us are here for tricks and games, love.
Okay. Well, in that case, and she slowly slinks her hand back behind her blonde bun held by her crystal rod and flicks it out, her hair whipping out as she does this at her side.
I think we're going to go ahead and roll for initiative.
we're rolling for initiative.
Aedoro's spear immediately tunes to the guy.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode. We'll be back next week for part 3 of our special interlude. For those who haven't heard our other adventure with Dante and Aedoro, you can hear their first appearance in episodes 31 through 36. This episode included music by Kevin MacLeod of Incomptech.com. You can find the track listing and credits in the show notes. Photos and character art can be found in the show notes on partialarc.com. And while you're there, why not check out some of our other podcasts, including Roll to Seas, where myself and Andrew Dickinger discuss the absolute madness of Warhammer 40k. If you have any questions about the show, you can email us at FridayNightQuests@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Tumblr, all under the handle Partial Arc. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the battlefield.
Yeah, I'm going to loot the body.
So, how much experience do we get?
Well, now we have a skeleton army, so that's pretty neat.